Hi there, welcome to the Noah Presgrove case. Today I'm sharing with you some new interesting details and other bits you may have not seen before in regard to Noah Presgrove. Even Noah's mom speaking out once again with an interesting point from what she was told by someone, sounding a little mysterious, but bringing it all together today with the theme and question of: was Noah Presgrove having a good time at the party? Did he want to stay or did he want out of there? Was he desperate to leave? Is that why he ended up down the highway trying to escape, trying to walk away at 3:30, intending on going back home? But earlier when reaching out for a ride and everyone denied him of that, Noah had to take matters into his own hand. What's really going on there? So credit to Joyce Bigow and her recent post. It's created some interesting discussions in the comment section. I'll share with you the post first of all so you can see it for yourself, and then I will give you my reaction and thoughts, and then we'll transition on to the comments and by Noah's mum as well, Casey Smith. Welcome if you are currently here in the live premiere. Share your thoughts and live reactions in the chat box live on the right hand side of the screen, and at any point, and for those on catch up, if you have any questions, answers, ideas and reactions, you be sure to leave a comment below under the video and I can respond back to it later. It helps with spreading awareness of the case, the video itself, and it can generate more ideas in a good way. If you do want to support my channel, in the comments, pinned message, there is a PayPal link as well as channel membership. And if you want to catch up on recent videos, if you missed out on the video that I uploaded earlier today, you'll be able to find it all top right corner screen where the I symbol is. With that all being said, let's begin. This post can be found on the case discussion group 8th of August by Joyce Bigow. And they said, who feels Noah Presgrove wanted out of there, as in the party house? Who feels Noah Presgrove was having a good time? Why do you feel this way? Now, there's about 34 comments, and we will acknowledge them in just a second, but I want to share my thoughts in regard to the question. I would say, in my opinion, Noah Presgrove appeared like he was having a good time and he wanted to be at the party, though you can put the argument across and say, do we know if he really wanted to remain at the party onwards? Well, we don't have any party footage past 1:50 in the morning, no photos or videos publicly to determine whether the atmosphere was still positive, the energy levels were still high, Noah Presgrove still laughing and joking. That's unknown of. All we can refer back to is Saturday night, Sunday night, and then early hours of Monday morning. That's about it. So it doesn't show the full story, but from conversations in the background and so on, and maybe like what Caden Pressey has highlighted to some extent, you could gauge and measure how badly Noah wanted to be at the party or how badly he wanted to leave. And I'm sure the comments will be able to complement that on that Facebook post very shortly. But I said, these are my thoughts, my analysis on the matter. The heavy influence and the consideration that Noah wanted to leave, I guess, links back to the Caden Pressey effect, because it was Caden Pressey that brought up in the interviews, or one of the interviews, that Noah Presgrove reached out to him wanting a ride back home, and Caden said, I can't, got in trouble at the age of 18, I don't want a repeat of that, so on and so on. Noah Presgrove respected Caden and understood. But Caden mentioned about Noah Presgrove reaching out to other people at the party, a range of them, but kept getting turned down. Now, if there's a designated driver, someone that can drive, someone that isn't under the influence of alcohol, such as Carter Combs, did Noah Presgrove reach out to Carter Combs for a ride home? Do we know the answer to that? I can't remember personally. I think it's not really been acknowledged or not acknowledged enough. Now, if Noah did reach out to Carter and she turned Noah down, what would be the reason for that? That's if that happened. You've got to take in mind the consideration of timing of stuff, because when it came to Breely, when it came to Georgia, who were getting picked up by Breely's older sisters, two of which came on down. One took Breely, Georgia back home, or was going to, before Alicia and Melissa intervened on the highway. The other sister took Brealey's car back home. Okay? So 2 sisters came along, one a passenger. The passenger gets out, gets into Brealey's car, drives home, and then the other sister still in their car picks up Georgia and Brealey. But at that moment, could Noah Presgrove have had the opportunity to go back home? Yes, but was Noah Presgrove around to see those girls? I don't think so. Did any of those sisters come across Noah directly? Not too sure, but there might be a bit more on that in the comments later. But what I can remember, another one of Brealey's sisters that didn't attend the party, but commented online, mentioned that if we had known about Noah Presgrove wanting a lift, then we would have given him one, of course. Maybe by that point, that time, round 2 in the morning, or a little bit before, somewhere around there, Noah Presgrove, accepted that he wasn't going to get a ride home, or just accepted that he might as well stay at the party because it's fun, it's good, and just keep on going with it, keeping the energy levels up. But then you can argue, and I've added it in myself, what about the side-by-side rollover? Was that deemed as rebellious activity because he didn't get what he wanted, because Noah couldn't be given a ride home? He thought, right, screw this, I'll do my own thing and be reckless. It's one way of looking at it. The other aspect would be the side-by-side rollover. Was there any intent by Noah Presgrove to drive onto the highway, but didn't even get far because of being around the back of the pasture area and rolling over? Drunk driving too. If Noah Presgrove wasn't drunk, would he have still got into that side-by-side? And if he was sober, would he have attempted to drive back home in that side-by-side? Yes or no? Because it depends the timing of when Noah Presgrove was reaching out to people for a lift back home and was being rejected, and how long that went on for. No times have been given from the looks of it. And then the actual true time of the side-by-side rollover, which hasn't really been given. Cade and Pressy had said 2:40, but it's in doubt that. We're only hearing it from the words of someone else, not physical hard evidence. And just the timing of it doesn't match up with Caden's timeline anyway. There's contradictions there, which is a problem. So the side-by-side rollover, was that a rebellious act? Was it just messing about having fun? Or was it a last-ditch, desperate attempt of trying to get away? Whether he was having fun or not. Whether he was safe or in danger. Did he try getting in a vehicle because his own wasn't present and no one would give him a ride home? So Noah had to take matters into his own hand, but didn't get that far. If Noah wasn't drunk, would he have attempted to go on the highway, and would he have attempted to go back home? Take in mind, supposedly Texas boys were passengers, so if Noah was to go north, Noah would have to go into Texas maybe to drop the guys off. That's on the conditions that if there was an intent to try and leave the party house property. It's kind of unknown of. Don't know the real motive behind why Noah did what he did. Is it that significant? In some ways, yes, because with the recent video that was done and suggested by an expert, pathologist or so, said about the side-by-side rollover, Noah could have been injured in that event. It didn't seem that bad, that big of a deal at the time, but internally, there could have been a puncture, could have been damage to the lung, could have been blood filling up inside, which wouldn't have been good for Noah, and then slowly dying from there on. It was like a catalyst, a turning point in the outcome for Noah Presgrove. How it could be linked to an accident, how it can link to separate different events which explain each type of injury cause, as in from the autopsy report, and so on. So there is a chain of events and a chain of importance, how one can impact the overall outcome of the case, and how each little adjustment can impact the next thing that follows, and so on. So if I had to break it down really quickly, I would say because Noah Presgrove being drunk, the fact that the bedroom debacle happened after the side-by-side rollover implies that Noah Presgrove, towards the end, before walking away, had it in his mind that he was going to settle down at the party. He was going to sleep. He had it in his mind that he supposedly wanted to go to either Logan's bed or Avery, birthday girl, to sleep with them in an innocent way or not, but there was an intent on going to bed, winding down for the night, as in Monday morning. I think that just in itself speaks volume. I mean, the question you could throw in is, if the girls didn't reject Noah, let's just put it that way, if Noah got his wish to be able to sleep in one of the girls' beds, would Noah have still walked away at 3:30, or would there be no reason to? We've heard some people, we don't need to mention the names, broken records saying how the bedroom situation wouldn't have caused Noah to walk away. But I mentioned that there are a build-up of factors and earlier events. If Noah Presgrove was rejected a ride back home several times, and then Noah Presgrove rejected a bed to sleep in, you could argue a level of entitlement, a level of frustration, but because of under the influence of alcohol, more reactionary behavior, and it just bubbling to the point where it's like Noah is frustrated and wants to get away from it to cool off. Now, Caden Presley said that's normal, especially when Noah is drunk. And maybe depending on the emotional strain of the individual or the influence somebody is under, it can make a person a bit more reactionary and a bit more emotional, meaning smaller touches, smaller words and actions expressed, which they're on the receiving end on, they pick up and react on it more, and maybe more so in a negative way. So if Noah Presgrove got what he wanted at the end of the day, more so on a Monday, to be able to sleep, Noah Presgrove may have not walked away. Would Noah Presgrove still be alive till this day? Well, based on it possibly being an accident and a chain of events, then technically, yes, Noah Presgrove would still be alive till this day. If it's a murder outcome and foul play, it might have just meant that Noah Presgrove lived another day until the inevitable of the next time he attends a similar party with the same people. That's the outlook there. But in between it all, when it came to the rumours online on the Facebook pages spreading about how people were interpreting a post and misunderstanding it between Casey Smith, I think, and Victor Presgrove, a bit of blaming and arguing back and forth, and people thought, oh, is Casey blaming Victor because Victor did not give Noah a ride back home when Noah Presgrove called Victor, and Victor denied Noah of that. So if Victor had given Noah a ride, then Noah would still be alive till this day. You can see where that's going. You could see how reactionary people could get if they interpreted it that way. But at the end of the day, Victor Presgrove gave a response, and then it was shared public, in which Victor said about Noah never called me, never asked for a ride home. So it appears that Noah Presgrove was mainly just asking those on site at the party for a ride home, did not reach out externally. That can be a measure, and it's an important one. If Noah Presgrove had contacted a family member, someone more personal, regardless of the time, regardless of if they may be asleep, getting some rest before going to work the next day, if Noah Presgrove did make an attempt in calling one of the family members, it implies a greater level of need to leave, that all other options has failed. So he then thinks, right, I don't really want to bother my family members, but I've got no choice but to contact them or one of them. And sometimes the measure of how many times you call someone until they pick up, how many family members and different relatives do you reach out to in order to try and get a lift back home. The more times you try, the more people you reach out to, implies a level of desperation, a great need to leave. If Noah Presgrove simply asked so many people at the party and then past that point did not ask again, and when Breeley's sisters were there, if Noah Presgrove was around, if Noah didn't reach out, well then it's like, then maybe Noah Presgrove didn't really want to leave at the end of the day, or he just came to the level of acceptance. It is what it is, I'll just remain here, it'll be okay. And when looking at the earlier party footage and photos, yes, it's evident that Noah Presgrove was having a good, nice time, and so was everybody else. In terms of the events of conflict, fights, physicality, pranks or not, tense or kind of joking about, do we have hard evidence of all that? No, not really. Maybe the odd little bit there where Shane slapped Noah, where Noah was nonchalant and other people were laughing. When Noah Presgrove was begging and asking Brylan Sweat to slap him, Noah was asking for it and smiling, so it didn't seem that serious. But anything else in the background, like Saturday past midnight going into Sunday morning, where supposedly Noah Presgrove yells at Jack and is pushing and shoving and it's aggressive, in the words of what Justin Roy has said from what he's been told. Has that been documented, recorded, a video, audio? No. And other stuff as well hasn't really been recorded or documented, or at least not shown public. So the counterpoint people could say is, well, we don't know the full picture then. We've been shown what we want to be told, or what people want people to believe in, that Noah Presgrove was having a good time and was happy. But you've got to take in mind as a counterpoint, some of the footage was presented and documented by Caden Pressey. And if you trust Caden Pressey, and Caden is an innocent individual, Caden clearly documented Noah Presgrove having an okay time and people laughing and joking, being quite casual, and it being relaxed. Despite alcohol present, quite relaxed. And then the other people's points of views and footage, right? The Saturday footage, bit on Sunday, the selfie Monday. Past that point of 150, publicly not seen any other footage of Noah Presgrove or photos. So it's unknown after 150 what the atmosphere was like, what the mood was when it came to Noah Presgrove and people around him. The only bit of footage what we do have is that 232 with Pepe Guam and supposedly Mikey Lair underneath a traffic barrel. Laughing and joking seems quite positive, which is okay, but it doesn't include Noah Presgrove, and we're using Noah as a measure and a scale, as in how badly did he want to stay, how badly did he want to leave. You could combine it all together and say, at some point Noah was fine, then Noah wanted to leave, but then realised there was no chance, but then maybe was convinced to stay in his own mind that it was okay, then wanted to settle down to go to bed. Didn't get what he wanted, so he was a bit frustrated, walked away to cool off, and then whatever happened, happened, depending on the theory and the side you look at it. In the cause of death, a chain of events, or just one. Accidental or foul play, murder, beat down gone wrong, etc. So it's not that difficult. I can show you some photos and examples right now of what I'm getting at when it comes to Noah Presgrove. In regard to who took the photo here, like a selfie, I guess it's Jasmine Milan with her arm out. So was this from Jasmine Milan's phone? That's an interesting question. I mean, take in mind, she did take her own selfie at 3:41, so it makes sense. But just look at the atmosphere there. So on the left, you got Noah Presgrove doing the V sign with his fingers and his tongue in between, which can be interpreted as wanting to lick somebody's kitty cat or cat flap. And then you got Jasmine Milan there in a grey shirt. Then on the right, in the background, you got Jack Newton with his head tilted, with his girlfriend Carter Combs on the right. And then off screen, there is somebody else, but I can't identify who that is. This appears to be probably Saturday, maybe. Can't see the shorts, the colour of them, so I can't determine that. But then again, the shirt that Jasmine's wearing there could well be the one what was seen on the Monday, possibly. So could put the argument across and say this might have been Sunday night. Not guaranteed, but yeah. If anyone does have the context in regard to the day, the timing of when this was taken, feel free to add it below. It fills in the gaps. But moving on. There's another kind of group one. In the background, I think you do have Pepe Guam. Then behind Noah Presgrove, you got Travis Monson. This was Saturday. Shandon there, Saturday. Blonde girl on the right. Noah Presgrove is licking Shandon's cheek. Innocent, messing about. Depending how some people are in their mindsets, Noah Presgrove did have a girlfriend at the time, but they weren't at the party. Would the girlfriend approve of this? Who knows? I don't think that's as important now because there's other things at hand that matters. On the left, I think could be Logan Jernigan. Some people end up looking all the same, with the same hair colour, faces, glasses, and so on. But there seems to be a bit of whipped cream on Noah there, and there was that moment, some other footage of Jack Newton licking cream off Noah's shoulder. So that's just like another example on the times and days when it happened, more so the days, Saturday. But You know, it's just adding in that it's not just Noah having a good time smiling, it's everybody else. And with these being friends to Noah and vice versa, it's what you would expect from a party. So it's a positive, of course. But for the people that think foul play and murder, you can also say it's hard to believe that any one of these people could be responsible just based on the photos, the screenshots provided, right? There's another one, I think that's Logan and Shane and Presgrove joking again with his tongue out, his guard lowered, doesn't appear tense, his body language is quite loose, seems to appear comfortable. Maybe it's because of him being under the influence of alcohol, so he's a bit more flirty and able to move about and talk and whatnot. But then you got this one at 1:50 in the morning, and then this is just a general photo. And the reason why I've got this one here is just to compare it. You know, this is just a photo shoot. This is to do with, I guess, do you call it American football or some a team photo or a singular portrait photo? Maybe you've got to keep your mouth straight and appear professional, maybe. But it's just to put into perspective that something like this, keeping a straight face, Noah Presgrove can do. Steady, still body language. But then when he's at a party, letting his hair down, being who he wants to be, look how the body language changes from the facial expressions, right? Doing his own thing, going with the flow, positive, and amongst other people who he's familiar with. Now, how was Noah Presgrove around strangers? Well, supposedly with the side-by-side rollover, there was Texas boys as passengers, or at least one Texas boy, maybe more. With Noah Presgrove maybe not knowing them, as seen as strangers, they seem, I guess, did they have a good time? It's been said kind of by Caden Pressey from what he was shown or seen, a photo from a video, that they were laughing and joking after the rollover, as in the passengers as well. So if that was Texas boys and they were strangers to Noah, that despite a negative event rollover, they were laughing and joking, still got on well. So there's still that possibility that strangers can gel with Noah and vice versa. And this being 1:50 in the morning, side-by-side occurring later, followed by shower, followed by teabagging supposedly, followed by the bedroom debacle, and so on and so on. It would have been better, it would have been good if there was more public footage and photos of Noah Presgrove later on in the day, before 3:30, latest one possible, to really measure and gauge what did Noah Presgrove look like. And also if we knew of the timing of when Noah was reaching out to people for a ride home, was it before or after 1:50 in the morning? If it was before 1:50, you could argue and say, well, clearly Noah Presgrove isn't that distressed by it because he's happy taking a selfie here. If it's after though, well, it's kind of a mystery, as in what the atmosphere was like from the general public's point of view, because we don't have really any material to work with from there. So here we are back again to look at the comments, the points of views of what other people have had to say. Let's see if it, links in with what I've been getting at. All comments. Evelyn says, hearsay, hearsay, hearsay. In my opinion, let the phones tell the truth. Justice for Noah. I'm sure I will get attacked over this, since that seems to be the reason for these groups. I pray the family finds the truth to all this. I don't think you'll get attacked just for the whole phone situation. More so you'll get attacked if you questioned Caden Pressey, the way people react there. Not one person should attack you for your opinion. Tree flower, and we'll get to that in just a second. So, in terms of the phones, what would the phones tell? What story would that tell? As in, it will reveal what Noah Presgrove wanted at the end of the day, whether he wanted to stay or go. Phones, quite vague, but I guess you can break it down to like what I was saying. Additional party footage, photos, which may show Noah Presgrove after the side-by-side rollover, and during and just after when Noah tried reaching out for a ride home, just for, to see how did Noah cope? How did Noah react to being turned down by everyone, supposedly? And then what? And when I say everyone, maybe more so everyone who he reached out to, not including those that were never approached in the first place. Tree Flower is Casey Smith, Noah Presgrove's mom. Casey Smith said, someone told me it was his mother's phone number he called last. Don't know how true that is. Joyce says, if you don't mind me asking, did Noah call you Sunday night? I think there was that mention that Noah Presgrove reached out to his aunt, was that Robin Smith, when it came to, was it Rocklahoma or something, some festival or gathering to do with music, and Noah kind of wished he was there, but instead was at the party instead. Was there a level of regret? You could interpret it, but at the end of the day, Noah Presgrove settled at the party. The event, which some of Noah's family members were at, did last a few days, so Noah Presgrove could have possibly went on down the next day, but chose not to, so that speaks a bit of volume there. The only reason why it's a little bit weird here is because, is it like meant as in third person? Casey Smith says it was his mother's phone number. I guess when you're speaking about your son, it's probably just interpreting it in a way. Basically, it's been said that a person, no name mentioned, it would be interesting to know who that someone is that Casey Smith is referring to. Does Casey know the name of the individual? Are they from the party? Are they a family member? Is it a stranger? That's interesting. For someone to say the reality is that Noah Presgrove was last to call Noah's mom, as in tree flower. But what time and what day? Could be quite critical. When you're calling your mom, personal touch, why would Noah be calling Casey, his mom? Did Casey pick up that call? What was the conversation like? What was the atmosphere like? Was it Sunday, as like what Joyce asked? Was it more so Monday? And it's being referred to as the last call in general that Noah Presgrove made. But in regard to the last text message, that's a completely separate thing. An SMS text message or a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat message, DM, any of them? What was the last ones there? What was the last time that Noah Presgrove touched his phone? I think that would be a key pointer question. So at 3:30 when Noah Presgrove was walking away, did he put his phone down and then walk off? Was his phone already placed down? Did Noah Presgrove have the phone with him when he was in the side-by-side during the rollover? Did Noah Presgrove put the phone down when he went to go for a shower? Did Noah Presgrove put the phone down, wherever it was, when getting ready to wind down to sleep? At what point did Noah Presgrove last use his phone? Interesting. But at the end of the day, I guess, ultimately, that if there was anything critical or important on it which would lead to the case being solved, well, that's not happened yet. And the phone's already been taken in the past and processed, and I think it was handed back. Correct me if I'm wrong. Has it really led to any breaking moments and movement forwards? Publicly, no. So you could say that maybe whenever Noah Presgrove last used the phone, it's not as important as you think. Not to be too dismissive, just my opinion at this moment in time. I think because Noah Presgrove left the phone behind when he walked away, it's a piece of evidence, but not as important as it could have been if it was on Noah at the time of when walking away, because it could have tracked his movement, the pings at the times of where he was and where he ended up, and if his phone remained on him or if it parted ways, it could tell a richer story, like with the Dylan Rounds case as that did. So you let me know your thoughts. I think the biggest thing that stands out to me here is the fact that someone told Casey what the reality is, but we don't know who that someone is. You'd think maybe a person from the party, a person that may have witnessed Noah making a call, but then that person would have to know the last call that Noah made and know that no more took place after that point. Interesting. Very. Miranda, I think Noah was enjoying himself for the most part, but I also believe there was times he wished he had driven himself or not even came in the first place. Right. Well, Miranda, if you're referring to Monday, the day before, Sunday, Noah Presgrove in the afternoon, evening, returned back to the party, but was given a lift there because his own vehicle wasn't quite functioning properly. There was a leak, an oil leak or something. So Noah Presgrove wouldn't have been able to drive himself back because he had a taxi service down, basically, by Gage Jesson. When it came to the day before, Saturday, Noah drove down and then Noah left Sunday morning by his own choice in his own vehicle. But past that point, after, Noah didn't have his own vehicle with him, so he couldn't really do much about that. But Noah was convinced enough Sunday afternoon onwards to return back to the party. But he had that rumour on Facebook pages claiming Jack was desperate and Jack was trying to persuade and desperately get Noah to come back, but there's no evidence of desperation. It might have just been, hey Noah, we miss you. Please come back. It's better when you're here. We've got alcohol. Maybe it went along the lines of that. If so, Noah, in a way, easily convinced. Depending on what day that convo when reaching out to his aunt and that Rocklahoma event, Noah half wanting to be there but also remaining at the party and for the days onwards returning back, we could say it swayed in a particular direction about Noah Presgrove in some ways than not one also wanted to be at the party house from the looks of it. What else do we have? We can't pretend Noah enjoyed the entire night, as in on Monday as well. There were a couple of instances he was in the middle of something, rather him being accused of stealing a phone or being yelled at for something he did. Well, being yelled at, I mean, it was Noah Presgrove yelling at Jack, from what Caden said, Saturday night past midnight into Sunday morning, because Jack supposedly flirted with Noah's girlfriend behind Noah's back, and Noah found out at the time, so wasn't too pleased about it. If you're talking about yelling as in Jack and Avery, that was towards Noah, and that was Monday, and it was mentioned in the wrongful death lawsuit for the very first time. There was a verbal fight going on. The context, the motive, can be interpreted however you want. As in being accused of stealing a phone, that was to do with Mikey Lair, Miranda. Mikey Lair couldn't find his phone, assumed that Noah stole it or hid it. Maybe it's because Noah Presgrove being known as a prankster, and Mikey was aware of that. You might think that Noah's responsible, playing a prank yet again, but this time round it wasn't the case. Supposedly Caden Pressey was covering it when resting on a chair. A misunderstanding, but it did lead to a form of physicality in which Mikey fish-hooked Noah Presgrove and Noah bit Mikey's finger. Eye for an eye. Did it lead to anything after that? Supposedly not. No big deal, but still a bit of physicality. Beside that, Miranda says, I also believe that Noah would have been perfectly okay with missing the last night at the party because of his car problems. Not saying he was forced or begged to return back, but I don't think he was itching to get back out there. I understand, but I guess when alcohol is presented and company and a party and a free ride down there and you don't have to pay for any gas money, it could be an easy yes to go on down. Yeah, why not? I'm getting a free ride down. I'm getting free alcohol with best friend and so on. Why not? It all comes down to that phone call between Jack and Noah. Will we ever get to hear the call log? The atmosphere, the tone of voice behind the two having a conversation? Do we get the transcript to see if Noah Presgrove was any bit reluctant, hesitant, or was he all in for it and ready to go? It makes you think, will we ever know? Did the victim's family ever get to listen to the call log between Jack and Noah, if that's even traceable? Lalia, I think Noah may have wanted to go home at one point in time, only based off what Caden said about Noah asking for a ride. Fair enough, I get that, but then decided to stay. In fairness, that's basically on the same wavelength as what I was getting at. We have not seen supported evidence that claims he was asking for a ride. Supporting evidence as in other witnesses or more so hard evidence. That's true. I believe until we see the facts of him asking someone for a ride, then it is all hearsay or made up. And why would Caden Pressey want to make it up that Noah wanted to go home and want a ride? Interesting. We do know that Robin Smith, the aunt, said somewhere, pretty sure in a podcast, that he texted her saying he wished he would have went with them to that music thing. There we go. Like what I said before, Rocklahoma or so. But again, we haven't seen direct evidence of that either. Don't come at me. I'm in no way attacking the family, just stating we have not visibly seen that text from him. Or did she say he called her? I'll have to go back and find that. Fair enough. Okay. Let's check for the additional context. This can help. Partners in True Crime, I saw that mentioned. Joyce, I believe he called her. Robin Smith also stated that she had only heard about the asking for a ride home rumour on social media. Exactly, Joyce Bergow. Caden Pressey was supposedly the key to the understanding of what Noah wanted at the time in the moment. Did Caden communicate with the victim's family about that important stuff? No. Yet Robin Smith did hear about it, but it was online, not private, not with Caden, not with the right person, but online. So Caden could have done the right thing, but he didn't. Maybe there's a reason behind it, but the victim's family should have been told privately in a respectful way. Could have gone a long way, could have helped, but it didn't happen. Denise, you're correct. It was a text. Do we know if it was on Saturday or Sunday? I was thinking it was on a Saturday. I too was thinking it was a Saturday, because then it would show that even though Noah Presgrove wished he could be there, if he was able to the following day or day after, if the event continued on and there was access through the days, Noah Presgrove could have still made it to that festival. But he chose to go back to the party instead. Doesn't that speak volume? Okay. Joyce says, I believe it was a Sunday. So if it's a Sunday, if that event, that festival was to end on a Sunday, there's nothing Noah Presgrove could do about it. If it carried on over to Monday, well then there's more of a chance. Lilia, I do believe you're correct. I'm still trying to find. Right. Something about a full load podcast. Partners in True Crime interview. And what do we have here? It's a bit small. Live chat, very interesting. Partners in True Crime. Oh, is this my video? A screenshot from maybe my video. I can't remember. Yes, it will be. We've got Chris P. Bacon. Shout out to them. Not seen Nana Bentley for a while. Robin Smith. Donna, I've never been inside your house. Noah did text me on Saturday saying he wished he had come to Rocklahoma with us that weekend. Boom, boom, boom. On point. There we go. And Robin Smith's comment came from and originated on my video, my live premiere. So we learn more because indirectly through my video, the live premiere, live chat, which gives people a chance to share their thoughts, including the key individuals like Robin Smith. You can see how important it really is. And the fact that it's mentioned on the Saturday implies if it was over the weekend that Sunday was still possible to attend. Noah Presgrove, after leaving the party Sunday morning after breakfast, did Noah have any intent on going to that festival? Would he have been able to, or was there no access? Did you have to book it early, as in tickets? I don't know the full context there. If there's limitations, well then nothing Noah could do. If you could still access the place on a Sunday, but Noah chose the party instead. So it seems like Noah Presgrove wanted one thing more over than the other. But then maybe, was there any regret afterwards? You could argue. Let's just get out of that. And then what's this particular screenshot? Is it the same one again? Yeah, same one. I had to search in my screenshots with the name This Helped. And it originates from WarLike Wrath's video, just for context there. Lilia, upon listening to the full load episode 1 interview from 5 to 7 minutes or so, she speaks of Rocklahoma. He texted her Saturday night. Right, so it's in 2 different places. That's good. I think he was having fun by all the pictures and videos, or at least up to a certain point, because we haven't seen after that, have we? Just looked like friends being silly together, I agree. I think towards the end, he was tired and wanted to go to sleep. If that argument about sleeping in the bed happened, I think that's why he walked off or got in the bed of someone's truck. Both scenarios fit. Exactly, Sherry. Same wavelength there. But I do think he wanted to be at the party. Siobhan, I don't see anything to suggest Noah did not want to be at the party. No one has come forward and said he attempted to call them for a ride. Also, several people came and went from the house that evening, and no one else had said he asked for a ride from them either. So in between, other people had the opportunity in being dropped off here or there, designated driver available. Noah Presgrove could have reached out to one of those and then gotten a lift back home. But maybe by then, Noah Presgrove was like, oh, it's fine, I don't need it. Because we don't actually know how long Noah Presgrove spent, as in reaching out to people for a ride home. Danielle Castle, in my opinion, based off the pictures and videos I've seen, Noah appeared to be having a fabulous time. Tammy, maybe Noah wanted to leave earlier that night but didn't and later just decided to stay. But his phone records should show if he called anyone to come and get him. Tim, good point. The phone records would show all of this. Noah's dad did confirm that the story of Noah calling him for a ride was false. Exactly. Lily, this is what I've always believed too. It was the end of a long weekend. He'd been home probs, exhausted. It's very possible he was tossing up whether he wanted to go back or not. And this is where some additional interesting info comes about by Tim Daniel. The sister of Breely, who gave her a ride home, said that when she was getting into the vehicle, Noah came up to the window. Really? I said, I've never seen this before, and was really wanting her to stay later at the party. The sister of Breely, when she was getting into the vehicle, Noah wanted the sister of Breely to stay at the party. I wonder why. Was Noah Presgrove familiar with one of the sisters of Breely? Did they get on well? How long did this sister, stay at the party for until leaving? Was Noah somewhat emotionally connected to her? Was there any flirting going on? Interesting. There is no indication by Noah's actions that he wanted to leave. To the contrary, he was having a great time up until he walked off around bedtime at 3:30ish. He even wanted to stay in the birthday girl's bed. Yes, that is a draw factor. That is a pull factor to indicate, regardless of what happened earlier, at the end of the day, Noah Presgrove wanted to stay. If he badly wanted to leave, then he would go to the extreme length of maybe walking away to walk onto the highway. Well, Noah walked away anyway at 3:30. Well, he did. But in terms of before that, before being denied of a bed to sleep in, Noah had it in his mind that this is it, I'm going to go to sleep and that's it. Call it a day, call it a night, and be okay with it. So, kind of like initially, Noah appeared to be okay. But just as a heads up, Tim, are there any screenshots of the sister of Breely or one of the sisters stating that Noah came to the window of the vehicle and was really wanting her to stay at the party? I've never seen that before. Do we have screenshots? Can that be provided somewhere? If anyone can reach out to me. So, Tim also says there are videos of Noah dancing, being silly. Caden says he was having fun playing beer pong. The notion that Noah wanted to go home was one of the many inconsistencies of Caden's story. Caden is the only single person who mentions Noah asked someone for a ride home and then pressed on it. Caden said, I don't remember who he asked. I trust the photos and videos as well as Breely's sisters. A sober older driver, she also stated that whilst Noah was drunk, he was still able to hold a conversation and stand. Interesting. George, I've also heard about Noah trying to convince the girl to stay longer. He obviously could have asked them to give him a ride home since they were going back to Comanche, but the opposite happened. He tried convincing her to stay longer, as in Noah still staying there too. And even though she couldn't stay there any longer and left, Noah Presgrove was still okay in staying at the party, even if she couldn't be there. So that says a lot as well. But I thought the whole Noah begging everyone for a ride out of there was determined to be lies perpetrated by Justin Roy. No. Begging everyone for a ride. Well, I don't think it originated to Justin Roy. I thought it was Caden Pressey, or at least based on that interview that took place. And just refer back to a little bit more context with the actual hard evidence on screen. This is like a live chat conversation replay screenshot from one of my older videos, and I'll just read it through bit by bit. At the time, Skippy said Noah's mom, Casey Smith, was mad at Victor Presgrove for supposedly not picking Noah Presgrove up. Was she told Noah had called his dad for a ride, or did she know from Victor that Noah tried calling him? Question. Tim Daniel. Robin, did Victor confirm that Noah never called him for a ride? Thanks for being here. Skippy. Victor didn't deny it unless there were more text we didn't see. Robin Smith said, I've only ever heard Noah was looking for a ride home on Facebook, online. No one has ever told me this in person. So, in person, would anyone be willing to? Could Caden Pressey have done that but didn't? And as in on Facebook, that can be like an umbrella term, as in openly, unless it was a private DM, but that was never clarified. So it can be interpreted that Caden Pressey never reached out privately to Robin about it. And yet really Caden's the only one to mention it in the first place in his interviews. Robin says, I do talk to Victor frequently. And February 7th, 2025 at 5:02 p.m, Victor Presgrove had said, I have never seen these posts. What site are they on? And yes, something lied about me. There was never a call from Noah to me that night. So, Noah Presgrove never called his father Victor. So Victor would never have known that Noah wanted a lift home, but also Noah Presgrove wasn't desperate enough to leave, wasn't desperate enough to reach out to a family member. Despite asking those at the party and was rejected, it could be interpreted that Noah thought, it is where it is. I've got other opportunities. There are other people out there that would probably give me a ride home, but I'll choose not to do so. So at the end of the day, it sounds like to some extent, up to a point, it was Noah's choice to remain at the party. And based off some of the other events and themes what we've looked at today, there were pull factors, draw factors, which may have reconfirmed why he was there and wanted to be present. I'm not too sure if you can remember, but I do in here, and it's documented somewhere in my videos and one of the live chat replays during my premiere at the time. Caden Pressey did comment about the whole witnessing Noah Presgrove asking for a ride home, asking different people. But what Caden Pressey said in his interview compared to what he said during a live premiere of mine greatly differed. And that was when things started coming unglued and unwinding, and not in a good way. Originally, Caden Pressey, in I think it was Partners in True Crime, the interview stated that he saw Noah reaching out to multiple people for a ride home and was denied, even reaching out to Caden too. Caden Pressey, during my live premiere months later, stated he did not see who Noah was asking. Caden did not see it, only heard it with his ears, and that was it. There's a big difference, isn't there? And Caden said, I wouldn't be able to recognise or identify the people, but maybe if you give me a few days, I might be able to remember. How could you remember if in the first place you never saw the faces of those individuals that Noah was reaching out to? Maybe you could base it on familiarity with voices and sounds, who you can match that to as for identities, but with all the noise going about, your senses could be somewhat blocked. At times your eyes are needed, at times other senses are needed. Besides touch-based, you need sense, the nose, sensory, ears, hearing, auditory, eyes, visual, and hands, fingerprints, touch. The whole lot can fulfill it all, or a few of them can work. But when most of the senses are blocked off, you're limited to what you can experience, limited to what you can remember, right? When you think of memories, touch-based memories, sensory memories, which can trigger a recollection of thoughts. The more senses that are activated and were present at the time, when brought back again in the future, there's a high chance that you will be able to remember. But if you're limited to senses in the first place and experiences, then the other senses can't be triggered by a recollection of events or any nodes because they weren't present at the time. So Caden Pressey in his interview saying that he saw it take place and he saw Noah asking people, but then in my live premiere many months later, Caden said, I didn't see it. I didn't see who Noah reached out to. I only heard with my ears. So I don't know who he reached out to. It's going backwards. Either you saw it or you didn't. It's unfortunate. I've not really seen anyone else bring it up, not really seen anyone else talk about Noah wanting a ride home. And if there was a designated driver on site, Carter Combs, don't you think she could have given Noah a ride? But that's if Carter knew, that's if Noah reached out. And if none of that happened, well then how is anyone supposed to know what Noah really wants? There needs to be a level of communication like anywhere. And if there's only a limited amount of communication in which Noah Presgrove reached out to a certain amount of people, then decide to give up, or then decide to think, you know what, I'll just stay for the sake of it. After that point, if there were any opportunities, if there were any people, even like Breeley's sisters, by then too late because Noah made his mind up, made his bed, metaphorically speaking. So in terms of what Caden originally said, as in with a level of confidence, he saw Noah and reaching out to multiple people, and being rejected, you can understand why the general public would go along with that, and Justin Roy and others. Caden Pressey, the architect behind it, supposedly. That's how it appears to be. But if the general public heard and saw what Caden Pressey had to say in my live premiere, instead of the interview, I wondered the outlook would be different, taking it with more of a grain of salt. Well, we don't actually know who Noah reached out to. We don't actually know how many people Noah reached out to. The less people Noah reaches out to, the less passionate he is about leaving. I know there's some counterpoints. You could say that, you know, walking away from the party house, isolating yourself in a dark field, down a dark pathway, could be spooky and scary. That if you're willing to isolate yourself and be alone and somewhat vulnerable in a quiet area, then maybe you did want to leave, even if it meant putting yourself in a hazardous or an uncomfortable position because one's better than the other, then staying. But if you're, how would you put it, a country boy, if you're familiar with the area of the property and you're familiar with the people nearby, and your intent is just to hang about outside, and you've been known to do it all the time in the past, well then it's not going to cause fear. You're going to be familiar with the environment. It's not foreign to you. You're used to doing it, so it's no big deal. It's just that sometimes that can be a measuring tool, that you might have to do something or go somewhere, be in a certain environment that you just don't feel comfortable in. It might make you feel nervous, uncomfortable, whatever. But the current situation you're in is just as bad, if not worse. So you're willing to put yourself in a bad situation to avoid the current one, meaning you're pretty much desperate to go. As for Noah Presgrove, I don't think you could measure it off that. So there's certain elements like the bedroom situation where it implies that Noah was quite okay in staying and sleeping over. It didn't go to plan that, so Noah walked away. But as like what Jasmine said, and more importantly, Caden Pressey, it's normal for Noah to walk away and then return back later. But this time round, Noah Presgrove didn't have an opportunity to return back. Why is that? Because his life was taken by someone or some people. Or that if Noah was in the bed of a truck, the next time Noah woke up to try getting back, had no chance because he stood up in a moving vehicle away from the party house, stumbled and fell out, and then one event led to another, as like what I've said in my recent videos. So yeah, originally, yes, there was that map analysis and so on from all sides and perspectives. So when people on the light side, when people on the army page complain, always remind yourself at the end of the day, I did interpret it at one point that Noah Presgrove may have walked down the highway because he was so desperate to leave and scared and fearing for his life. That's documented on my channel, and I've covered it in different ways since. For that full perspective, it's all there, it's all under control. But you know what's not under control is when some people act one way on my channel, either positive or neutral, maybe nice and friendly, and then they show their true colours elsewhere. Let's document the latest downfall of a particular person. Take in mind, this is a public comment and it wasn't said on my channel or page, so it's Lisa talking behind my back in a cowardly way. She says, I support Justin Roy all the way. I couldn't believe you called Wrath a piece of shit to his face yesterday. Ha ha ha. Good for you. I know WarLike Wrath has caused you a tremendous amount of pain, along with poor Caden Pressey and his mom, Alicia. WarLike Wrath, that guy, doesn't have a kind word to say about anyone in this world. He's even talked smack about Noah's family. Karma's a bitch, though. He's clearly struggling now that he's burnt every bridge he had. He's left with no one but a handful from the dark side. That is pathetic, considering he basically had a monopoly on YouTube and Noah's case. So dumb, he pissed it all away just to support the evil dark side. Well, he fits right in with them. It's nothing but the dark side's channel now. Oh, Lisa. Oh, Lisa, what shall I ever do with you? And beside that, Justin chipped in. Well, they paid WarLike Wrath him the most, so he was a puppet for them, and it's the truth and not truth side. He made up the dark and light side like a moron. You do understand, Justin, there is no evidence of that. The reality is it came from Facebook, the light side, dark side reference. I started referring to it that way. I wasn't the one or the creator behind it though. I use it as a term of categorization. Okay, it's very efficient to do so. Justin says, and I agree, if he just stayed unbiased, he was doing good, but then he had to start slandering people. No, I haven't. And then cry when someone reported it. Well, is it really slander when Alicia outright lies about who she called compared to who she claimed to call when there's hard evidence to show it was JJ Bumpaz? That's not slander, it's a fact. And there's evidence of that though. WarLike Wrath's also notorious for not using common sense when someone sends him screenshots out of context or not the full story. But you, Justin, just in lacking context, you've been very, very active in the past when it's come to out of context, cropped images and so on. But it seems to be very selective in memory-based recollections. I'm not so sure he won't be seeing some legal action soon on a few of his slanderous, shabby videos. Guess we'll wait and see. So Justin Roy is suggesting that WarLike Wrath could be sued, that there could be legal action and so on. Interesting. But he likes Donna Bond, GC, whoever that is, and JB, whoever that is, for some odd reason. He obviously likes the drama. He's made a mockery out of Noah's death, and it's pathetic. Just taking consideration that Lisa is a member on my channel, and for most part of it, it was gifted memberships at random, which just so happened to go to her. A member on my channel does that and says that about me. Is that right? Do you agree with it? You think that's normal behavior? In the past, we had K-Love and Miriam that were members on my channel, that when I did a community members only post, they decided to leak it onto another creator out there, as you're familiar with, the one that's attacked, harassed and threatened me, so on and so on and so on, deepfake AI technology. Same said individual in which Lisa actually looked up to. The problem with Lisa is they're appearing as a bit of a dipsy-daisy lackadaisical tool in which they play the victim weak card as if, oh, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know the context behind it. I'm just some vulnerable individual, you know, just spare me here and there. I think Lisa was the one to mention something about cancer or chemotherapy, which may have frazzled their brain and how they act at times. If that really is the case, Lisa, maybe true crime isn't just meant for you. You might need to take a step back because clearly something is going on in here. Is the kettle black? Doesn't really matter what colour the kettle is because the kettle is on, but no one is home, okay? So Lisa, you need to look, listen, learn, simmer down and know your place. You're in no position to be talking. First of all, the amount of times you have effed up in what you've stated, your recollections of events within the case, and you've got it completely wrong. And whilst other people were tearing you apart, calling you such an incompetent prat, I was the one trying to defend you. I was the one trying to be lenient, to say maybe Lisa means this, or she was interpreting it from another perspective, and so on. The same what I did with Justin Roy. What appears to be the case is patients to Dr. Wrath have gone rogue over time. I have gone above and beyond with these humans who have then turned on me just because of the direction of my outlook on the case. So we'll go for it bit by bit. Lisa states that WarLike Wrath has caused Justin Roy huge amounts of pain. So what about all those months and months where Justin has been battling against the dark side, battling against George Choden, battling against BBC, supposedly Justin being threatened by BBC and other people onwards, and Justin sharing that with me and going on about it? How can I be the one causing such huge pain to Justin when most of the problems that Justin has faced or come across is with other people? The only situation Justin has had a problem with me is to do with certain supposed material not showing the full story. But then when Justin has talked about it and I said, okay, then we'll show it, then I've done a video giving the full context. That simple. Do you understand, Lisa? Do you understand, Lisa? Or do I have to repeat it and spell it out for you? As for causing huge pain towards Caden Pressey and Alicia, well, Alicia hasn't attacked or verbally gone on an assault, really. So, yeah. There's no evidence as in causing them pain. There's no hard evidence of that, Lisa. You're just throwing a load of words and buzzwords together in hoping that they'll have some substance, but there's nothing there, okay? In terms of causing Caden Pressey pain, Caden Pressey stepped away in some capacity because of other people. It was because of me that gave Caden Pressey a platform, a live chat room to speak, in which he chose to speak, in which he chose to reply in certain ways by his own accord, his choice. That because of my live premise, it's what led to Robin Smith, one of the family members of Noah Presgrove, making an appearance and mentioning some key points. Same place where you, Lisa, have had the chance to share your thoughts and so on. So, got to be grateful for that. Caden Pressey was the one that said to me, hey, do you have Xbox? Maybe we can play some video games sometime. Wasn't able to because I'm on PC. I don't play on the Xbox anymore. So clearly, not that bad, the situation. And in terms of the evidence, in terms of the actual detail as to how it's caused them huge amounts of pain, how exactly, Lisa? Where's your evidence? Where's your screenshots? Where is your evidence? You have none. The reality is, the videos that have been done about Caden and Alicia are factual. As in, what Caden says at one point, what he says at a different point. Clear contradictions and discrepancies. There's no way around it. If you can't see it, you are delusional. If you can't see it, you are biased. Simple as non-negotiable. We're not messing about. What Caden says with his own words, with his own mouth, at one point differs greatly to what he said at a different point, or in text-based communication as well. What Alicia has stated here compared to there, big difference. Yes, a video was taken down. Oh, is that because of all the pain and damage caused, as what Justin says? Like, no wonder why. No. Because there's been videos in the past from other outlooks towards Jack Newton towards Caleb Newton, in which those videos were taken down. If you wanted to use the same mentality there, well, you might as well say that the light side detest me, the dark side detest me, every human supposedly detest me. Does every human want me dead? Well, I've got some bad news for you. I've had 3 near-death experiences and counting, and maybe unfortunately to some people, I am still breathing and I am still present. Oh, what a shame. Some interesting words by people on the sideline, very. But don't worry, in terms of mentioning certain discrepancies or more so lies, I will re-upload videos, okay? It will be there. Lisa says, WarLike Wrath never has a kind word to say about anyone. Well, if supposedly I don't have a kind word to say about anyone, then explain to me how I'm in the presence of one of the kindest, sweetest individuals out there, someone so special that in some way, by my words or presence, you know, it's weird. No, Lisa, I'm not describing you. No, you're just an embarrassment of a human and a waste of oxygen, okay? I'm talking about another person. But very interesting. You know, normally in the past I would have more to say, but when I'm dealing with sheer stupidity, you know, what more can be said, right? Lisa said that WarLike Wrath has talked smack about Noah's family. Well, there's no evidence or proof of that. Other people have. Just happen to be people from the army page, like Tiffany Shepherd, Vanessa Salazar to some extent, and a few others when defending Justin Roy, but calling out Noah's family just because they didn't publicly honour Noah in which the public wanted it. When it came to the 1-year anniversary, they did it privately in the background, as they should. They're the victim's family, they can do what they want. So that's interesting. Lisa says, karma's a bitch. Karma, what, catches up? Karma catches up on me. So are you suggesting, Lisa, that WarLike Wrath commits suicide, maybe? WarLike Wrath gets killed, stabbed, raped, touched, ripped apart, limb by limb, skinned to death, exploited, trafficked, maybe? Ripped face off by a dog, is that what you want, maybe? Will it even happen in the first place? The real question is, will I let it happen? Very interesting language by Lisa, almost implying that WarLike Wrath deserves to go through unimaginable suffering in some way. Well, one thing that I do know within this world is that karma does exist, but more so it normally is false, fake karma. As in, it catches up on the victim who's already on the receiving end of bad stuff to begin with. But the real bad people don't pay the price, which is messed up, but I have seen it many times. But beside that, what else do we have? Lisa says, WarLike Wrath is struggling. In what way? Now, that reference could be used by people in the Dylan Rounds case, like it was in the past, the whole competition of, well, statistically, they're struggling. Statistically, they're not doing so well, and so on, and so on. This case is a sinking ship, and it's dying. Simple as. There are bigger, more popular cases out there. People go to the latest trends and the latest fashion. It is what it is. But because I'm interested in the case, regardless, I'm still covering it. Simple as. Lisa says, WarLike Wrath burn bridges, every one. If I burn every single bridge, explain to me why I am the catalyst and the main guy, the main person behind never seen before text, never seen before photos from the party, never seen before videos from the party. If it wasn't for me, you would be not getting that. You wouldn't have access to it. So, Lisa, you should be extremely grateful for what you've been given and what's been provided. You've thrown it all back in one's face. It's not a good look. The dark side channel is what it is now. Lisa, with your silly Billy lines and labels and your buzzwords, This is not the dark side channel. This is WarLike Wrath's channel, in which I can do a massive U-turn and cover a completely different case or cover a completely different theme or topic. If I wanted to tomorrow, I could cover Battlefield 6 and do gameplay video on it. Is what it is, my channel. I can do whatever I like. I can return back to doing dark ambient war horn sounds, in which one of which appeared in a short film Indian production. Or I could do some nature footage. I'm a hybrid. Simple as people come, people go, and others are replaceable. And you, Lisa, are you replaceable? Or are you irreplaceable? Well, is there anyone else as incompetent as you out there in this world? Might take some time to think about that. But are you replaceable? Well, yes, there are other Pratts out there, but would I want a replacement of you? No. Would I rather have none in the first place? Probably. Anyway, cleansing does need to be taken place. Justin Roy mentioning about if WarLike Wrath stayed unbiased, it would have been all okay. What Justin Roy basically means is if WarLike Wrath stuck with that Noah Presgrove was murdered and there's foul play and there's no other way of thinking about it, and that it's all just that, and that Caden Pressey is correct in everything that he says, and everyone else is telling lies and hiding the truth, and that's classified as being unbiased. So if WarLike Wrath didn't cover it from other perspectives or other angles, that there's only one side to the story, that means you're unbiased. I am dealing with the most incompetent, wretched dogs about, and it's embarrassing. I thought the Dylan Rounds case community was full of it. Well, I think this takes it to a brand new level. So in terms of Pratt of the week, Pratt of the month, Pratt of the century goes to the said individuals. A lot said, but nothing backed up. Psychologically speaking, what Justin Roy has said about me, and more so what Lisa has said about me, psychologically is all a form of self-projection, okay? Everything that they're labeling and claiming upon me, in some way they've done it themselves in the case. All this unimaginable pain that Wrath has inflicted upon Justin, upon Noah's family, upon Alicia and Caden. And yet, you've had the police tell Justin to step down to cool it off. The victim's family has told Justin Roy to back down to cool things off. It's getting a bit too much. Do you not pick up on that, Lisa? Is your mind selective? I think humans fail to understand and realise that there was a point in time where one of Noah's family members' friends, a friend of Noah's family, reached out to me privately and said, "We greatly appreciate what you're doing when covering the case," and so on. In the Dylan Rounds case, when I was bashed left, right and centre, on and on and on, and that giggling goblin that was going after me as well, all that noise around, all the attacks aimed at me, what's true there as to what's true here? One true, consistent one. That's it. Because I'm consistent, I'm a bad person. Because I'm frequent, I'm a bad person in the eyes of others. Because I've made the most videos, people are jealous of that. Because I have the most stamina and the most mental capacity, humans are jealous of that. Because I'm one of the most purest souls out there. I'm one of the most innocent individuals, lightheartedness set aside. Other humans just simply can't comprehend greatness. So they get a bit of a dysfunction within their mind, a complex psychologically, in which they break down and they just can't think clearly. They become erratic and uncontrollable in behaviour. That everything that they want to be, they can't. And everything that they have done, they're too ashamed. So then they label it upon me instead. I am that one true sacrificial lamb. Unfortunately, I am that one true black sheep. I said it since day one, and that's what's happened. And it happens in every single case. But at the end of the day, the most important people within the case, community and so on, know what's up and appreciates what's been done on my channel. And that's what matters most. Just like when Random people criticize my channel and content, but then the big established creators mention positives about me. That matters more. When covering a true crime case, no matter what the general public says, minority or masses, when the victim's family reaches out or indirectly passes on a message that you're doing a good job, keep on going, that's what matters most. In terms of all this mess that's going on now, whilst yes, it kind of happened in the past and so on, in between it all this mess, what's come out of it? Well, predictions ring true, as said, so I'm used to that. That's probably why my responses are limited, because I just know and I'm just expecting what happens and how people act. I have been aware that Lisa is a problematic human for quite some time, but I was just being lenient, okay? But it is what it is now. True colours shown. Justin Roy as well. True colours shown, on and on and on. Very interesting. Time will tell down the line. It could go the same way as the Dylan Rounds case. Still some videos to cover in between, but I do believe with a great level of confidence that some of these familiar faces and characters, there's a lot of ungrateful humans when it comes to what I have done within the case, to my capacity and based on what I said I was going to do and what's been shown. There's a lot of ungrateful humans that need to know their place, know their role, look, listen, learn, and rethink and reevaluate themselves, because if they don't, they will be in an endless loop, not just within this case, but within future cases, not just within future cases, but within life as a whole. But these humans have shown, and others, that they're simply a lost cause. So Dr. Wrath, the doors are not open for them. Healing sessions, the doors are certainly not open for them. Consultations and analysis, definitely not either. So it is what it is. Natural selection has taken place once again and cleansing has begun. So with that all in mind, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye, good night for now.